I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the Nevada results. Concerning the last caucus that we had, the last primary we had, I said that it was over. It is now over. The word over is in caps lock. It's all caps. Capital O, capital V, capital E, capital R. Bernie Sanders has now, okay, let me give you some numbers. All right. Bernie Sanders is now, so 84 delegates have declared, okay? Bernie has 35 of them. Buttigieg has 24. Biden, he lives to fight another day. We'll see what happens, in South Carolina on the 29th. Elizabeth Warren has 8. Klobuchar, 7. You know, I'm telling you, man, it's over. It's over. I mean, Bernie Sanders he almost has, what, like 37% of the delegates? Let me do the math real quick. 35 divided by 84. He has 42% of the delegates. It's 41.66666, and you know, that number. So he has 42% of the delegates. March 3rd is not that far away. You know, it shocks me that because see, here's the thing. Socialism is extremely unpopular. Socialism is anti-American. Atheism and socialism are anti-American. There was a Gallup poll that was released. I can't remember when it was released. I think it was on my birthday. Yeah, here it is. It was on my birthday. Yeah. It's from Gallup. Socialism and atheism still U.S. political liabilities. All right. So the highlights of the story, I'm going to get into some percentages in a little bit. All right. Over 90% would vote for a candidate who is black, Catholic, Hispanic, a woman, or Jewish. Much smaller majorities open to atheists, Muslim presidential candidates. Majority in the U.S. would not support a socialist for president. Okay, so 96% would vote for black, 95% would vote for Catholic, 94% Hispanic, 93% Jewish, 93% women, 80% evangelical Christian, 78% gay or lesbian, it's higher than I thought. Under 40, 70%. Over 70, 69%. Now that to me is scary. Over 70. See, here's the thing. Donald Trump he's over 70. Bernie Sanders is really over 70. I want to say 78, 79. Muslim was 66%, atheist 60%, socialist 45%. Socialism is still extremely unpopular. But what is amazing is that Bernie Sanders, the Democratic Party, they don't know what to do with Bernie. They are lost. Because see, here's the thing. They are so focused on beating Donald Trump. They're like, we got to get rid of Donald. And now remember, Bernie is technically an independent. He's not really a Democrat. He just runs in this race. He's really an independent from Vermont. So the Democratic Party they're in shambles. They don't know what to do. They're like, okay, obviously right now he's our best shot at beating Donald, but he's not even in our party and he's a socialist. If you talk to anyone who understands history, if you just do the last 100 years of history, they would understand that socialism is horrible. It doesn't work. It has never worked. And it's just incredible that he is in the lead. And by this margin, because he's up by 11. I told you, it's between Sanders and Buttigieg. Okay, now Sanders, I think it's going to go to Sanders. I think the nomination is going to go to him. Joe Biden has 10. Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Klobuchar are fighting for third. But no one cares about third because it's about who's in first. That's what it's about. So Buttigieg has the best shot at going against Sanders. But it's sad to see. We're out of do you guys realize the race is now, it's going to be between a billionaire and a supposed socialist. And the reason I say supposed is because Bernie Sanders has 3 houses that we know of. He may have more. And that's kind of the thing about, let me say this. I was talking to the wife of the youth pastor at my church, and we were just talking politics. And we both, now she's a Democrat, but her and I can talk politics very easily. But one thing that we both like about Sanders is his consistency. Over 40 years, he's been saying the same thing, which I applaud and I commend. You can't take that away from him. You may not like him. I don't like him, but I have to give him credit for that. Being consistent over 4 decades. Yeah, I mean, seriously. I would applaud him for that. But it's he's not really a socialist. Here's the thing. Socialism, it's just like you only get what you need. You don't get more than you need. Bernie Sanders doesn't need 3 homes. He has a commercial. He has a political ad out where he talks about, supplying 20 million good paying jobs. Healthcare for all. And just with that topic, that's why Buttigieg, and Klobuchar didn't do well. They didn't do well because because a lot of, they oppose Medicare for all, which there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. People say that that healthcare is a right. No, it's not. People who can just see, here's the thing. It's like you can do whatever you want to your body, and we're all just gonna share the load, and everyone's just responsible for everyone. No. And the quality of care will go down. That's what people don't understand. They're like, oh my gosh, they'll think that something is better than nothing. Which I'll say, you know what, that is true. It's better to have some health care than no health care. I concede that. Alright? But we are in a situation here. Like this. I'm astounded that it's going to be between Donald Trump and socialist Bernie Sanders. I'm shocked. Now, here's the thing. Donald Trump is not far right. If you think that you don't really understand politics. Trump he's a socially he's liberal. politically he's, just a little bit right. He's not far right. So it's not like a far right versus a far left. It's not that at all. But this is just amazing to me. It's absolutely amazing to me. Now, I still believe Donald Trump is going to win. I think what people need to understand, I encourage you, if you haven't already, I encourage you to research socialism. Just research it, because here's what I believe. Most of these people who are supporting Bernie, I kind of make fun of him, and I say that they have probably never taken a history class, and if they have, they failed it, or just didn't attend, or whatever. Okay, this is not good. Like, socialism isn't good. It does not work. It leads to disaster. And what's amazing is how many people are behind him. What he says sounds good, but it's not doable. He's saying things that cannot be done. He's talking about 20 million good paying jobs. Well, what does good paying mean? What is a number? There's a lot of people with quote unquote good paying jobs, but they're barely making it. He wants to raise the minimum wage. Let me explain the minimum wage really quick. Okay? You can't just give people more money. Businesses don't all of a sudden just get more money. It doesn't work that way. Minimum wage goes up. Number of jobs goes down. Bernie Sanders wants to tax the wealthy. When the wealthy are taxed, the wealthy are the ones, you can talk about the 1%, how they're mean, they're angry, they're stubborn, they're greedy. Yeah, you can go ahead and call them that. But without them, you wouldn't have a job. They supply a lot of jobs. You tax them, they say, okay, you're going to take my money, okay, I'm going to find a way to keep more money in my pocket. And how do I do that? I lay off some people. And now there are people who are like, well, now I'm out of a job. See, here's the thing. People hate, I said this earlier, people hate from afar. See, here's the thing. I don't care about how much money Bill Gates has. The amount of money Bill Gates has, the amount of money Jeff Bezos has, the amount of money Warren Buffett has, doesn't affect the amount of money that I have. It doesn't work that way. They have a bunch of money. Great for them. Good for them. That doesn't limit the amount that I can get. It doesn't limit the amount that you can get. And people are like, you know what? Let's take the wealth from the rich. Listen. You can give a poor man a lot of money. If he keeps the mindset of a poor man, he's soon going to blow through that money and become poor again. It's about mentality. I was talking to this one guy at my church. He's smart. I would like to have him on the podcast one day. Him and I totally disagree. Like, we were talking about reparations, and he's really a funny guy. I'm gonna see if I can get him on. But anyway, he was saying, give us what we need. Listen. He was saying, give blacks what they deserve. Here's the thing. You can give us, quote unquote, give us what you think we deserve, okay? If we have the same mentality, we don't focus on good values, good principles, family, things like that. We don't have those principles. It's just like we have our focus on the wrong things. So you can, and this happens all the time. This happens all the time. There are people who win the lottery and they're broke within 10 years. It's about your mindset. It's not about that. It's not just taking away it's taking away someone's wealth and just giving it to other people doesn't fix the problem. As a matter of fact, it makes it worse. Cause now you have people, see, here's the thing about the wealthy. They understand money. They understand wealth. They're wealthy for a reason. See, there are people who are rich and then they lose it. Delonte West, he's homeless. If you don't know who that is, that was an NBA player. He's homeless now. He's wandering the streets. He recently just got mugged. He has nothing. There are people who are rich and they just lose it. The wealthy, they're intelligent. They understand money. They know how it works. They know how to get it. They know how not to lose it. They understand, I shouldn't say completely. You're gonna lose money in life. It does happen. But they can minimize the amount that they lose. They know how money works. A lot of people don't know how money works. Knowledge is key. Okay, they are disciplined. There are some people, you give them $1 million today, they'll go out and spend it, and in a week, they'll be broke. It's about mentality. The wealthy are wealthy for a reason. Just taking it from them and just giving it to people who have no idea what to do with it. They'll just be like, oh, I'll just buy a bunch of J's. I'll go on vacations. I'll go to this country. I'll go to this country. I'll go to this country. Many won't do the things that they need to do to keep that wealth. Just taxing the wealthy, it just builds resentment. It increases unemployment. I mean, these aren't complex ideas. These are very basic economics that you could teach this stuff to a fourth grader and they would understand it. And to me, it's like Bernie Sanders supporters, they hear this stuff and they're like, this is really great. Listen, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. It probably is. Minimum wage can't just go up there. Everything you do has positive and negative consequences. Okay, $15 an hour. You know, cost of living will also go up. Everything moves in proportion. It's not about increasing the minimum wage. That's not going to make things more livable. Eggs are going to cost more. Milk is going to cost more. Bread is going to cost more. Rent will cost more. It's not like you're just going to have more money and everything else stays the same. If you think that's how the economy works, well, I'm not quite sure about your intelligence in terms of, economics at a basic level. But I'm just telling you, socialism is not good. It doesn't work. And I think a lot of Sanders supporters just don't like rich people. These are poor people who've made bad decisions and they just want a handout. That's what Sanders is all about. It's just about everyone just gets a handout. See, here's the thing. People want things. If they can get something, they will try to take the path of least resistance. The easier something can get done, the people will try to go that route. See, people want to be rich, but people don't want to work hard. That's what separates people. Everyone wants to have money. Everyone wants that. Is everyone willing to work hard to get that? Is everyone willing to do things that others aren't willing to do? Are you willing to work Christmases, holidays? Instead of going out and partying, are you willing to sit down and study and read? Work extra, invest, delay immediate gratification. Instead of going out and drinking on Fridays and partying on, Friday nights and Saturdays, stay at home. Take that money that you earned and invest it. Not everyone is willing to do that. They won't take a class on learning a skill. These are just people who they just want a handout. That's one of the big things I don't like. That's one of the main things I don't like about reparations. It's just a handout. We haven't We have not earned reparations. We were never slaves. People who are alive today. We were never slaves. Let's say slavery ended 10 years ago. Now we actually have a discussion. Now there's actually something where I could be like, okay, I can see where you guys are coming from. And I would probably be, actually very likely be I'd be for reparations. But we are generations removed from that. We've never experienced slavery. Our parents did not experience slavery. Their parents did not experience slavery. So what we have to do is we have to look at things and say, okay, why do I want this person? Why am I voting for this person? Am I just looking for a handout? Am I looking to just get mine the easiest way possible? People just don't, it's like we just don't get it. We just don't get it yet. And I'm looking at this poll again, socialism, so in 2015, 47% said that they would vote for a socialist. It only dropped 2%. Atheism has been on a consistent rise. 1958, only 18% said that they would vote for an atheist. 1983, 42% they would. 2007, 45% said that they would. 2015, 58%. Now in 2020, 60%. These are just kind of interesting to me. And the huge jump right here is like gays and lesbians. Okay. In 1983, 29% said that yes, they would vote for a person who was gay or lesbian. In 2007, it jumped up to 55%. And then in 8 years, in 2015, 74% said that they would. In 5 more years, now in 2020, 4%. 4 more percent. 78% said that they would. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But this socialism stuff, man, I don't get it. Like I don't get it. It doesn't work. I don't understand. How many times does something need to be tried before we understand and admit it doesn't work? Socialism has been tried in different countries. I'm going to say probably like 2, I can probably think of 2 dozen just off the top of my head. All of them failed miserably. Sanders supporters, he's not going to be able to pull this off. His stuff sounds good. Free school. It's not really free. Taxes are just going to skyrocket. Oh God. It frustrates me. It's like his supporters, they're either rooted in ignorance. Their support is either rooted in ignorance or it's rooted in laziness. Now, I will say this. Some of his supporters they support him because of his consistency. Now if you're going to support him, if the way you look at candidates is saying, okay, who's been the most consistent? Then Bernie Sanders is the guy to go to. He's been the most consistent. First of all, he's got the years. He's 78, 79. He's right up there. He's been doing this thing for 40 years. He's been saying the same thing for 40 years. So if you are looking for consistency, it makes sense to go for him. If that's your number one thing. But the thing I look for, and what most people should look for, is policy. What do you want to do? How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? That's what matters. I don't know. How do you guys think he's going to do Medicare for all? How do you got the quality of the healthcare is going to drop? People talk about other countries where they say, oh, they pay much less. Okay, how long are they waiting for? Okay, what kind of care are they getting? You have to ask these questions. And I can't do it. I can't do it anymore with this socialism stuff. I don't know. And especially the older supporters of him. That's what I don't understand. It's like, you've seen America fight against socialism. You understand how bad it is. But you support a socialist. A supposed here's the thing. He doesn't really practice what he preaches. So in a way, he's not consistent. What he's been saying is consistent, but lifestyle wise, no. He doesn't need 3 homes. You don't know, you don't need 3 homes. He wants 3 homes. And so what did he do? He bought 3 homes. He may have more. It wouldn't surprise me if he had more. But I'm pretty much done with this story. Super Tuesday's almost here. It's almost here. And we're gonna see how that turns out. Okay. Where do I want to go? Oh, I want to tie this story in. Okay. It's gonna be real short. So Pete Buttigieg was approached by a 9-year-old kid who, I think this kid just wanted attention, personally. Because I saw this story and I was like, okay, this is just stupid. What happened was, there's this 9-year-old kid who's gay, and he goes up to Pete and he says, look, I want to be brave in a nutshell, he says, look, I want to be brave like you, and can you help me come out to say that I'm gay? Okay, is that not, that's just stupid. Here's something you know what? Let me just go to the article. Okay. This was from CNN on yesterday, okay? Pete Buttigieg shared an emotional moment with a young supporter in Denver on Saturday night. Thank you for being so brave, the boy, later identified as 9-year-old Zachary Rowe, wrote in a question submitted via Fishbowl during the presidential hopeful's Saturday rally. Would you help me tell the world I'm gay too? I want to be brave like you. Okay, once that question is read, and you, the kid, are standing up, we now know that you're gay. So you don't need Pete's help to come out as gay because you've already done it. I don't know. Some people, I legitimately think, and people may say, oh, that's cute, it's adorable, he's 9, he's discovering who he is. I'm not going to get into all that, but some people just want attention. You're 9, you know that this is going to be on TV. You're not stupid. At least I hope not. This is going to be on television. And you say, can you help me tell the world that I'm gay, when you just did that. You just did that. I don't know. But what's amazing, I kind of wanted to tie the story into the Gallup poll, where people are more and more willing over the years to vote for a candidate who's gay or lesbian. Now that's amazing. Okay. I'm gonna get into Steven Spielberg's daughter. Okay. Now, I've never shared this, and some of you might know this already. But, during my life, I had a period in my life where I was a porn addict. And I mean a hard, deep addiction. I'm writing a book on it, on my experience and how to get out of it and stuff like that. But it was very deep. I mean, during the lowest point, I was watching porn 4 to 7 hours a day during this dark period in my life. So this story is interesting to me. So let me just get into the story. Steven Spielberg reportedly concerned over daughter's adult entertainment career. This from Fox News. This week, brought a Steven Spielberg blockbuster no one saw coming. On Wednesday, the director's daughter, Mikaela, announced to the world that she is embarking on a film career of her own as a porn star. The 23-year-old told The Sun about making solo sex videos that she posted on Pornhub.com and how she is working to get licensed to become an exotic dancer in Nashville. The self-proclaimed sexual creature said she, in quotes, got really tired of not being able to capitalize on my body, end quote. She's now launched an account on the OnlyFans app on which viewers can pay $15 a month subscription fee to watch her. I'm gonna go off a little bit right here. Not go off as in being angry, but just, give my own input. Okay, now, again, I'm not a parent yet. Okay, that day is coming and I can't wait for that day. But I'm gonna be honest. You know what, let me get more into the article and then I'll keep that. I just gotta read 2 more lines. Despite this, Mikaela said that her parents, Steven and his actress wife of 29 years, Kate Capshaw, are, quote, not upset, end quote, and even, quote, intrigued, end quote, by her life choices. A Speilberg source told the Post that, as Mikaela said, Steven and Kate are nothing but supportive of her, as they are with all their children, end quote. Okay, here's my thing. I'm not a parent. I keep saying this. But listen, as a parent, I don't think you could 100% support your child in getting into this industry. I don't see how that's possible. Even if their parents were ex-porn stars and were a part of the adult entertainment industry. All right. You are going to feel something where just like, can you please pick anything else? I know somewhere inside Steven and his wife Kate, I know that somewhere inside them they were like, my God, can you be anything else? Anything else? The things that certain porn videos are unbelievably graphic. I mean, I was seeing things that I was just like, oh my God. Like porn, every time you watch porn, you induce a little bit of brain damage to yourself. And pretty soon your mind is warped. And it doesn't take long at all for it to happen. But everything you view warps your mind. And this is just really, if this were my kid, it would break my heart. It would break my heart would I still love my daughter or son? Yes, I would. I don't think I would be in contact with them or would have the same relationship with them. I would still love them. It would still be there. They're my kid. But I like, at some point I would beg them. I'd be like, please pick anything else. Anything what's your number 2 option? I will try to help you get into that as best as I can. Please don't pick being a porn star. You can't really here's the thing. There are people who come out of that world. You can't really disassociate from that world entirely. Because now there are multiple videos of you on the internet doing things that most people would be ashamed to do. Some might say, oh, that person's really liberated. That's a really strong person. And everyone else just kind of looks at you and they're just like, they see you as less than. They do. And I think this is heartbreaking. This is heartbreaking. Like, this is not a happy story. This is sad. And whenever I watched porn, I would always think, not always, but there would be times where I'd be in class just thinking, I wonder what their parents think. I just wonder, how would their parents feel? How would I feel if my daughter was a porn star and she was, being gangbanged by like 8 dudes? How would I feel about that? This is just a sad story. And I don't know. I didn't really think about talking about the story, but I recently wrote an article concerning Black History Month, and at the bottom I had my biography. It's a little 2-sentence thing, and it talked about how I was the host of this podcast and how I have a book coming out on the dangers of pornography and how to come out of it. It's going to be published hopefully by this summer. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. But I'm excited to publish the book concerning that. And I'm just going to tell you, if you don't buy my book, let me just say this. Specifically to younger kids, don't watch it. It's a very dangerous road. It is possible that you don't become addicted. That's possible. But I'm telling you, it does brain damage to you. It does. You see the world in a different way. You see people in a different way. I mean, I don't even, I'm just thinking about some of the videos that I've seen. And I'm just like now I look back and I'm like, how in the world was I watching that and enjoying that? I mean, I was really, really deeply addicted. And it is it's a dangerous road. Do not even think about going down there. Now, I was once asked by one of my friends who knew that I had an addiction. Now No, now let me say this. While I was addicted, nobody knew that I was addicted. No one. I didn't tell anybody. It was a solo journey. And that's kind of one of the different things about my book. Like, I didn't go get help. Like, no one else knew. Like, this was an internal battle that I had for, many years. So, that's where I was going. My friend asked me, he said, so if you weren't, let's say he asked me, I can't remember the exact wording of the question, but it was something like, when you watched porn, did it help you get rid of some of your sexual frustration and made it easier for you not to sleep with, girls? And when he asked me that, it was something that I never thought about before. And I don't quite remember how I answered, but that question was just really interesting to me, and I think I'm going to address that in the book. I'm not going to reveal that answer here. You'll be able to find that and the rest of my story in the book that I publish. It's probably going to come out around late July or August, somewhere in that time. But yes, that's where at. This is just a sad story. Mikaela, she's a beautiful girl. She really is. And she's going to be sexually objectified. And the sad thing is she's going to be doing solo videos, so it's going to be like, you're doing it to yourself. It's like, wow. Because let me, ladies, let me just say this. If you're thinking about doing it, here's what I'm telling you. We no longer see you you're not a lady in our eyes. We don't see you as a lady. And you may not care about that. That's fine. You don't have to care. But I'm telling you, ultimately we will deem you to be unattractive. You won't be attractive to guys. You won't. Like, physically, you'll be like, dang, she bad. Would you date her? No. Hell no, I wouldn't. Would you marry her? Definitely not. Would you want to be seen in public with her walking down the street together? Probably not. You're not a lady. You're just this, as the way she described herself, a sexual creature. That's how we'll see you. We'll see you as a sex object. When I was watching these videos, I didn't see these women. I was like, these aren't ladies. Like, you immediately, here's what happens. You dehumanize those people that you see in the videos. It will happen. You think, that could never happen to me. Oh, yes, it does. Just watching it one time will do that. That's how powerful pornography is. Okay. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to go last? I think I'm gonna go with the Oklahoma announcer story. In case you don't know, this is from ABC News. Let me just say what happened. There was a high school basketball game, and there was an announcer who pretty much just flat out said, these names, I have no idea how to pronounce these names. These names suck. He didn't say these. He pretty much said that these names are disgusting, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce them. And you can see when he says, like, there's a video of it, and when he says that, everybody that you can see in the video, there are players lined up on the court, and you can see some people in the stands. And right when he says, like, disgusting, everyone just, like, you can hear the person who is recording the video say, did he just say that? Like, I was like, wow, this guy really just said that. And these players were black and Native American. Now, here's the thing about names. Names are incredibly important. Names matter. Names are they're a huge part of your identity. Names they should mean something, and they should mean something strong and good and virtuous. Things like that. But what this guy did, to say that a name, first of all, the courage that this guy had, this guy just didn't care. He knew he was on the microphone, and he just flat out said, he said it with no hesitation at all. Like, he just said, he's like, yeah, these names are just disgusting, but hey, you know what, I'm going to do my best to pronounce them. Like he just said it. I was like, well, doggone it. Well, this is just something else. So, what he did was wrong, and he was replaced in the second half. I can't believe that this guy did it. The exact quote is, now their names are pretty disgusting, but I'm going to try to call them out, while apparently referring to the visiting team. Man, this is just rough. These ladies didn't deserve that. Let's say this. Let's say you think someone's name is disgusting. Okay? I would never call a name disgusting. I would say, okay, that's a bad name. Like, I might say that, but I would say it in my head. But I would not out loud say that, okay, these names are disgusting. It shocks me. It shocks me. If you really think that that these people have disgusting names, just keep that in your head. I didn't think he didn't really need to say that out loud. I think he said that, and it's possible. I try to give the benefit of the doubt to people. I try to do that. So let me just take some time and I don't actually think this, but let's just play this out. Let's say he meant these names are pretty difficult, but I'm going to try to do my best. Instead of disgusting, maybe he meant difficult. I don't actually believe that. Difficult and disgusting are two totally different sounding words. And once he said disgusting, he immediately should have apologized. I don't know. And the names, now here's the thing. The way people spell their names is interesting, because sometimes there are names that have a certain way that they're spelled, and that's considered the normal way. And then you see other names where it's really the same name, but it's just spelled differently. You're like, okay, well, what do I do with this? When it comes to names that are not white, there are names where it's difficult. Unless you are in that culture, then you can really do it. But even then, like, I look at some black names, I'm like, how did y'all come up with this? Like, first of all, it's like sometimes I'll hear a black name and I'll be like, okay, like, I'll joke to myself, like, okay, put that name on a spelling bee. Like, there are just certain names where I'm like, how did you come up with that? I kind of joke around, and I tell, my mom or my siblings, cause sometimes you'll just hear bad names on the news or something like that. And I'll just be like, you know what? What they should have done is, right when the baby was born, the mother should have just held the child and just looked at the nurse and just said, the nurse asked, what would you like to name the child? Just tell the nurse, hey, I'm out of ideas. You pick. cause some names I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, it's like some people try to be unique, but there is a thing where it's like, okay, now you're just being weird. Like, it's just weird. You know, naming someone xylophone, which, by the way, is actually someone's name. Naming someone xylophone. You know, Jarkeisha. Tadero. Just names where it's like, what are you actually trying to do? My name means man of peace or man of wisdom. That's what my name means. I just think names are important. When you name someone, I would say name them after, you can name them after historical people. Name them, like me, I want to start a tradition where I have sons, when I have sons, I don't want to necessarily give them a biblical name. I may do that, but I do want to start a thing where it's like names of, famous kings, famous great kings in history. That's kind of a tradition that I want to start, and hopefully, my sons carry that on. They may not, but my sons will have the names of kings, and they'll be great kings. That's like, to me, that's just, I don't know. I can't imagine having a bad name. And I think a lot of times, when it comes to like job interviews, like people talk about if you put a different name on a different application, if you take the same resume, just change the names. I can understand why some employers wouldn't take the black names. Cause some names you're like, how do I pronounce this? How do I pronounce this? And they're like, okay, if this person comes in for the job interview, I'm going to shake their hand, and say, I'm eventually going to have to say their name. I don't want to embarrass myself. And even if I ask them, so how do you pronounce your name? Some names are just totally difficult to pronounce, because sometimes they'll pronounce their name. You'll look at the paper with their name on it, and in the English language, with the way, you pronounce things, the way, phonetics and just things like that, you're like, okay, that's not even how you would pronounce your name. That's we just make up ways to pronounce stuff. And you can't help but do that because we go to school for a reason. You're taught how to read, certain things. When you come to a certain word, it's like, okay, when you see this, okay, there are certain rules, with two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking, like in the word read, R-E-A-D, you say the letter E, you say its name, but there are sometimes you'll see, a name and it has like two vowels together, and it's pronounced like, if you see like E-A together, it may be pronounced like, like a Y. And it's like, how did you come up with that? How'd you come up with the name, and how'd you come up with the spelling? But names matter. To the black community, I just want to say, we, there are people who are, we're proud of, people try to be proud of their culture. It's like, yes, you can do that. But it's like, okay, there are some names where it's just like, it's a joke. It's a joke, and you get made fun of. Because it sounds like you're just trying to be special, and you're just trying to be different. It's like it's like strange, like after 1970, and I think this has to do with like, the drugs that generation was taking, where they just came up with these bad names. There's no, Doris, Larry, Calvin, Sheila, you know, Jill, Mary, you know, those names do still exist, things like that. But like, it's like after 1970 hit, you just got some names where you were like, what? Like, I kind of feel bad for those nurses during that time period where they're like, okay, so what do you want to name the child? And, you know, you just say, okay, can you spell it, please? It's just that, I don't know. But we in the black community, we can't, when we keep naming our children certain things and we're like, oh, you know, it's ethnic and it's for our culture. Okay. Let me just say this. Here's the thing. If you want to bring, you can interpret what I'm saying. I'm going to go around the bush. You know, I think you guys can get the picture. Because I've done a lot of, you know, direct approaches. I'm going to see if I can go around the bush and you guys can just interpret what I'm saying. We do things, when you do something, it brings about a certain result. Okay, if we're doing certain things, and they lead to certain results, and we don't like those results, and we want better results, why should we keep doing the same thing? Why should we keep putting in the same kind of input and expect a different output? Keep naming them, you can keep the name Jarkeisha. See where that name, brings you. Now, I'm going to say this. There may be someone out there named Jarkeisha and that they're successful. There may be someone out there named, Tadero. Black names, Because there are some things where it's like, there's black names and then there's like black in all caps names. So, if we want, maybe if we want different results, let's, give names that mean something. That means something. I once met a guy and his name was Nat. N-A-T. You gotta be kidding me. Like you gotta be kidding me. And this individual was white. And I was like, here's my thing. You're pregnant for 9 months. And you come out and you say, okay, well, I mean, the best I got is this. Nat. What? That you had 9 months and you come up with a 3-letter name? That's like the fly gnat? G-N-A-T? I don't know, man. But to me, names matter. Names matter. But yeah, that's really where I'm gonna end. But remember, your name means something. Conduct, character, authority, and purpose. I learned that from a pastor. That's what is involved in a name. How do you conduct yourself? What is your character like? What do people think of you? How do people perceive you? What power do you have? What purpose do you serve? All those questions are tied to a name. It's so important. And when you give names that are, jokes, it's like, no, a name, it's not meant to be funny. It's not meant to be joked about. Names are serious. Give names that mean something strong. Something virtuous. Something, because here's the thing. People can lose, here's the thing. I thought I was done, but I'm not. In terms of dating, there are some people who they just have names where it's like, okay, this name does not roll off the tongue. This name It's like, I don't know if I could be with someone and consistently try to say this name. Like that's a real thing. There are some people who, they can be great and they're awesome and they're, good people, but it's like, I don't like your name. That is a real thing. I had one friend in high school and two friends in college, where they all said the same thing. They said, I went on this date. This girl was, she was great, but I was just like, her name just, it's like, it sucked. I knew a girl who said, you know what? He was a great guy. He was funny. He was smart, but I don't think I can just say his name because it's kind of a joke. And she was like, I don't want to be mean, but and I said, no, I get it. So that's a real thing. Just for your child's future. Just, come on. Pick good names, folks.